I'm Brett James, owner of James Aeronautics. We're a TBM service center. What we do is we maintain TBM aircraft, and we do training as well as far as flight training. We also do consulting, pickup and delivery, and we help people out for when they want to purchase or sell their airplanes. I started working on airplanes when I was a kid. I started getting paid when I was 13, but I started pushing a broom when I was around 7 years old. So I've been doing it quite a while. So it's since I'm 51 now, so it's been a while. The TBM checks a lot of boxes that a lot of airplanes don't. For its size, it's not the biggest, but it's also not the smallest. One of the biggest things is how good this airplane does its mission. It goes real high, real fast. You can get down real low and real slow. And it carries a heck of a good load on there. Typically, you're talking with full fuel loads, you're anywhere between 850 and 1,000 pounds of useful load. But what you're also buying is the support. The company of Daher supports the earliest TBM all the way to the latest one off the production line the same. So they don't turn their noses down to any airplane that was one of the originals. So when you're buying a TBM, you're also buying a company that stands behind the product, and the network is second to none. There's no other network out there that I've seen in aviation that actually compares to what you get with the network of Daher and the TBM network. The M600, which a lot of people compare these airplanes to, is a good airplane for what it is. The problem with the M600 is that there's never been really some leap forward of evolution. You can take an early model TBM and it still outperforms the M600 on a lot of different levels. The mission that a lot of people use on this airplane they want 5 people, long range, and baggage. The M600 can do it to a point, but the cabin's a lot smaller. You feel more cramped, where this one here, there's no spar going through the cabin. You actually have real good club seating. And if you want to reconfigure this airplane, the whole interior can be reconfigured in less than 10 minutes, where the M600 takes a little bit longer. Just the cabin in the back, you can pull out all 4 seats in under 3 minutes. It takes no time at all to reconfigure the airplane to the way you want it. And that's a big advantage. The primary customers that buy these airplanes, regardless of model, they really come from all walks of life, education background. It really is a great diverse group. For training, most people will take, most training sessions to get the initial time done is done between 10 and 15 flight hours, maybe 20. Depending upon your time and what the insurance company will require before you're insured, will determine if that has to go longer with additional flight hours with a mentor pilot. That's the biggest variable when you go and you train in these things. But typically, think about on a good pilot, I can say proficient and current in doing what they're doing. They can typically get into this thing and know the broad strokes. In about 10 to 15 hours, they'll feel comfortable. But I always recommend people fly more with their instructor or a mentor pilot that knows the airplane on mission specific, what you're going to use the airplane for, and include that as part of your training. So if you're using it for business, make one of your training days an actual flight that you're going to do once you're released in the airplane, so you do your dry runs and you actually can make your mistakes while you're with a mentor pilot. So average, when people start getting out of there, it's probably around 20-25 hours they start feeling comfortable. Some people longer, some people right at that mark. But the airplane is a very good airplane, and it's not as let's say it's not as daunting as some people may think. The other ones that we work on is the Daher Kodiak on amphibs, strictly amphibs. And we do training in that as well. The amphib is hands down probably the best overall turbine-powered single-engine amphib in the world, in my opinion. It's another Daher product, and we do that through my other company, which is Carolina Seaplanes. And we can do, again, consulting. If somebody wants to buy one, we can do demo flights, or we can go and get people to transition from, maybe they were flying a smaller amphibious airplane or a float plane, and we can get them transitioned into the Daher Kodiak, because we have one right here on staff, and also when we have the airplane up in Lake Iliamna, Alaska, which is going to be there during the summertime. Iliamna can be a place where you can come and get your training in the Kodiak, or we also have a Sea Ray up there, but also people can fly up there and with other training programs like William Goldberg or stuff like that in TBMs, and they can make that a haven where everybody can come and get some training as well in TBMs. We're trying to create a TBM, aviation, TBM, seaplane, whatever community up there where we can offer all these things. And so it's be like our Alaskan ops up there for all the stuff that we're doing here in the lower 48. If you already have your seaplane rating, the transition training can take 5, 6, 7, 8 hours just to learn the airplane and then feeling comfortable. Again, if you want to fly one of these things, it's going to be pretty much determined upon your skill level, but also insurance if you want to buy one. It'll be the same thing if you're buying a TBM or if you're going to buy a Kodiak on amphibs. Amphibs are usually harder to get insurance on because the insurance companies get spooked, but you're still going to have your training requirements at a bare bone minimum. It's going to be about 5 to 10 hours to really learn the Kodiak. To get insured on a TBM without an instrument rating, I've never heard of it. Now, I've had a friend of mine who didn't have an instrument rating and bought a TBM, but he was uninsurable until he got his insurance rating. So I flew around with him for about 150 hours while he was using his Bonanza to get his instrument rating. Got his instrument rating, sold the Bonanza, checked him out, and he's been flying his TBM for 7 years. Because the TBM, you really get your legs above 18,000 feet. You're in the flight level. So above 18,000, you need your instrument rating. So I would tell anybody that's thinking about buying a TBM, get your instrument rating, get proficient, and then get yourself your TBM. And you can start training at any hour level as long as you can afford the increase in insurance for the low hours that you have. If you can do that, you're perfectly fine. I have a customer with a 940 who has 400 hours in an instrument rating, and he bought himself a 940 and he got insurance. It's high, but he did it. And he's a very good pilot, actually. That's right, because it's going to help you a lot because you're always going to be in the flight levels, you're always going to be flying IFR. Up there, you're also getting a lot of icing. So you really need those experiences, not just so much of icing, but you need the IFR experience and then layer in the turbine, this airplane, icing, because you're going to get in and out of that a lot, even in the summertime. All year round, you're going to be experiencing the possibility of icing. So you got to get your instrument rating and be proficient. And that's what I would tell you. You want to be a competent instrument pilot before you jump into one of these, because things are going to come at you real fast. And so you want to be really competent instrument pilot. And then the transition, because nowadays with a lot of the glass cockpit, the learning curve is shortened if you are flying behind glass to begin with. If you're a steam gauge instrument guy, it could be a little bit of a learning curve. But most of these airplanes are going to come, like the standard 900s and things like that, and some of the later model 850s. They're G1000, G3000, but some of the ones that are being upgraded are G600, TXIs, dual 750s, and they work. And that's easy to grasp if you come from a glass background. To learn more about this, you can give me a call at 919-480-1175. You can send me an email at James Aeronautics LLC at gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about the seaplanes, you can call the same number, or you can go ahead and send me an email at brettjames@carolinaseaplanes.com. And give me a phone call. If you don't hear from me, I'm probably flying, but I'll get right back to you.